Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. So this is actually the third time I've tried to record this video now because I just kind of keep stumbling over my words. I'm finding it really difficult to talk about what I'm trying to say. It's also not helping that there's a thunderstorm going on outside, so a little bit of pathetic fallacy, I think. I think that's what it's called. When the weather kind of represents the tone of what you're talking about. But I mean, it's actually a positive subject, but kind of going through some different emotional things. So as you will have seen in the title for today's video, I thought it would be a good idea to kind of sit down and just have a catch up with you all. And quite a lot of people have asked me kind of how I've gotten into interior design and where I am now, and I thought this would be a really good opportunity to kind of go back and walk through the process from then till now and kind of how I've found being happy and being content, which is something that I know a lot of people have noticed over on Instagram, which I'm really happy about, because if you followed me for a while, then you'll know that I have had some much lower and darker periods in my life, and I'm really happy to share that, even if kind of one person reading it feels like they're going through the same and can relate to that. That's good enough for me. And yeah, I'm kind of happy to share every aspect of life. But yeah, I went through some really kind of negative periods in the last 2 years and kind of thought it would be good to walk through how I've found happiness now, as kind of cringy as that sounds. And I know that's such a generational thing to think that everything's cringe, but kind of whenever I'm talking about myself or like following my dreams or pursuing anything, I just find it a bit awkward to talk about, but I'm trying to get better at it, and YouTube is a really good place, I think, to kind of talk about emotions and just have a one-to-one heart-to-heart with you guys, which is something I couldn't do as much on other social channels. Okay, so I suppose everything changed for me and my life at the start of lockdown, which I know it did for a lot of people. So I went from working full-time, going to the gym every single day, having a really strict, and now I realise unhealthy relationship with food and exercise, and not following any of my passions. I wasn't particularly happy in my work situation and knew that I wanted things to change, but I think I was really stuck in a rut with my life and unsure of where I kind of found happiness. So lockdown really was a bit of a breaking point and changing point for me. Before March 2020, so just over 2 years ago, I had no online presence. I didn't have an Instagram account other than like to share some holiday and food pictures to some friends. I didn't have TikTok. YouTube was obviously only the last couple of months, but I didn't have any of that. So starting that was also a big kind of career move for me, because I knew that I always wanted to be an interior designer, so being able to sort of document our house renovation on there was a really positive thing. But I suppose the most important come away from lockdown for me was having to cut out all exercise. And I know that sounds really backwards for a lot of people, and I don't mean that to sound annoying or insensitive to anyone who exercises regularly and has a really healthy relationship with food and the gym and all of that stuff. But for me, for probably 5 years prior to lockdown, I had been exercising every single day and only eating certain food, only drinking certain drinks, because I was suffering with eating and body disorders, which is something I've only kind of come to recognise or maybe admit in the last 6 months, which is something I've spoken about on here before. So I would be really hard on myself if for some reason I couldn't go to the gym, or if I ate something that had like too much fat in. I was obsessed with having a really low body fat percentage, which became unhealthily obsessive for me. And it really affected my relationship, me following my goals in life in terms of career, house, family, just everything. And it, to be honest, stopped me having fun. And during lockdown and as the months kind of went on, I slowly realised the tie that had on my life when the gyms were closed and when we kind of had to find our own fun in life. And as awful as lockdown was, I think in a lot of ways it really opened my eyes and made me a better person today. So that's kind of the first thing that's changed in my life in making me happy today. I now have a really good relationship with exercise, which I'm always very careful of and monitoring. I cook all the time and I really enjoy cooking, and even though I have times where I'm hard on myself or I am really critical of something I'm doing, I do try to not limit myself and just live life to the fullest and kind of not limit myself to doing certain things, because I know from experience how unhealthy that can be. So it's almost trying to do the opposite and just like seizing every opportunity and making the most of every day, I guess. Again, I know that sounds really cringy, so any millennials, Gen Zs, I don't know what the generations are, please just ignore how embarrassing I am, but just speaking my truth. The other big thing for me was work. So I used to work in the financial services. I was an office manager was my title. So I mean, I did a bit of everything. I did marketing, I did some events planning, I did admin, I did just like a bit of everything. And I was lucky to work in a really nice office for a friend, essentially. So a really good position that I was very grateful to have. And I started working there straight after university. So I had been there for a few years. When lockdown happened, pretty much everyone in the country, I think, was furloughed. So I had a couple of months of furlough before going back to the office. And around that time of going back to work was when I started renovating our cottage, and I also started my Instagram account, which again was kind of a pivotal moment in my life being where it is now, and something I'll always be grateful for. So that started off very much just me sharing updates on stories, and then less than 2 years ago I started posting on Instagram a bit more and sharing the story of our house. And then from that kind of started to love certain brands and different places, and then began to apply for jobs in interiors. That could have been anything from working in retail for an interiors brand, working in marketing, working in styling, kind of anything. I was happy to start from the bottom and work my way up, so to speak. I was really lucky to have the opportunity to work with some interior designers on some projects local to me, which gave me a really good grounding. And then obviously I had done our house as well, or still am. So that was really, really good for me. So it was around February 2021 that I started applying for those jobs in interiors full time. And I started the interview process with Neptune around then and started working for them in June. I was working in marketing for them, and I did learn a lot in my time there about who I am as a person, what I want to do for work, lots of other things. And obviously, as I'm sure lots of people know, it did change my opinions on the brand, and it was just really useful for me, and it gave me the courage to be able to leave and start my own business, which so far so good. And since then I've been working with residential clients who mainly, I think, heard of me through Instagram, and a couple of people just directly through my website or referrals, and that's ongoing, which is really exciting. And I'm now kind of thinking about the next stages for that. But future goals are kind of bringing out products and continuing with content and making YouTube videos, because I would say more so now, YouTube is definitely my favourite thing. I love making videos, I love sitting down and chatting, and being able to be completely myself, and I feel genuine and authentic on here and not kind of hiding behind edited pictures or snippets of life. As much as I love Instagram, TikTok, etc. as well, YouTube is somewhere I'm really enjoying being. So that's kind of where I've come to be in terms of those two big areas of my life. But honestly, I can hands on my heart say I am at the happiest point of my life I have ever been, and there are a few things that I could put that down to. So the first two are the points that I've just mentioned, so finding a healthy lifestyle balance, and then also starting a career that I love and want to wake up for every day. Like, I genuinely really enjoy working, and 5 o'clock comes around way too fast. Not that I stop then, but those have been massive things for me. There are a few other things that have made a big difference in my life. One that's really significant is being angry. I don't know if that comes from the other two areas, but I feel anyone who knows me personally, feel free to comment on this in the flip, reverse, or whatever you say, or to agree. But I feel like I decided during lockdown that I wanted to stop arguing with people so much, and that makes it sound like I used to be really angry or aggressive, or I wasn't at all, but with certain people in my life, those closest to me, I often would lash out at them. If I disagreed with something, I'd get really upset and really internalize every feeling. But I feel like more and more I'm able to talk about how I feel, and also learnt to just bite my tongue and let other people have thoughts and realise that I'm not the only person who matters. Which, I know that sounds really self-absorbed to say, but I think that's something that is a big learning curve for a lot of people, and it's honestly improved every relationship in my life with Mikey, my parents, my sister, my friends, everyone. I think I now don't get into arguments with anyone. I haven't for years, and yeah, obviously you're going to have kind of little tiffs and little bickers, but I think that's completely normal. But definitely changing my attitude in terms of relationships has been really important for me. The fourth thing that has made a massive difference in my life is being more patient. And I know that's honestly, you can just say that and that means nothing, but I used to be the type of person who wouldn't want to wait an hour for something to cook in the oven. Like, I was that impatient that I would feel like I just couldn't be bothered to wait for things. I couldn't order a sofa and wait 2 months, for example, and I know that is still quite annoying, and I might find that annoying now, although I have done 10 weeks waiting for my sofa so far. But I have really learned to just kind of carry on, to not think about things too much, and to just go with the flow. I used to be so stressed and particular, and that kind of comes with the routine of the gym and with working in finance and all of those things. I think I've really learned to relax, and it's definitely made me a better person because of it, or I think at least. And those last couple of points I think tie in nicely to the overarching change that I've made in my life, and that is talking to people about how I'm feeling and what I'm going through. I'm really lucky that I feel in a position to be able to talk to anyone here who decides to watch my videos, because even just communicating in comments or in messages, or just like getting everything out that I need to say, really does help me understand how I'm feeling. But more than that, talking to professionals, talking to Mikey, talking to my family and friends about things I'm going through, whether it's loneliness at work, food issues, body image, anything that I feel like I'm going through, I now for the first time feel able to talk about it and really don't feel pressured to give this perfect life, because I never have been and I never will be. And I know everyone says that, but I think for a long time I kind of had this idea that my life was going to be like Brie Vanderkamp, Desperate Housewives vibe, and I'd be like pulling a pie dish out of the oven and welcoming people over. And in the last year I've come to realise that I literally don't have enough time on my hands to pretend to be perfect, and no one does, and that's not real life anyway, and it's not attractive and it doesn't make you better, nothing does. So yeah, and that also kind of ties on to some of the hate that I've received online. I think about a year and a half ago I started receiving some honestly horrible, disgusting messages which made me feel so low, and I took on a lot of other people's anger and then came to realise that that means nothing to me. I put myself online. If someone decides to have a view of me, that's fine. And I've really hung on to something that somebody said, which was just that haters are confused fans. So yeah, take everything now with a pinch of salt, and I'm just trying to be chilled and get on with life. And a few of the things that I do to really enjoy life that bring me happiness are obviously interiors and decorating. So going shopping, going thrifting, painting things, being creative, that's all a massive, massive outlet for me, and I want to continue to do more of that. So if you see me repainting a wall and you don't like it, either ignore it or please unfollow me, because I'm going to continue to change things and make sure that I'm really happy with what I see and keep myself interested in my life and my home. And I also want to continue to paint more, do more photography, videography, create content, all of those things, because it makes me really happy. The second thing that makes me really happy is eating and cooking. I love buying new cookbooks and trying out new recipes, so kind of set myself regular goals of making one new recipe a week, for example, and that's something I really enjoy and I'm going to continue to do. The third thing is, funnily enough, exercise. So I do actually really enjoy exercising, and even though I had an unhealthy relationship with it before, I'm trying to get back into a routine of just doing what my body wants and doing something, which is something I haven't done for the last year. So the last month or so I've been trying to move at least 3 times a week and get a sweat on. And that's not me saying that everyone should do that. You obviously have to do what's right for you, and that feels right for me. The fourth thing that I really need to be happy and feel happy is company. And I know a lot of people would say that I should find more happiness in being independent on my own, but I am quite a codependent person, and I love having Mikey around. I talk to my parents every single day and my sister. I speak to friends all the time, constantly have people on the phone, and I've realised that that brings me happiness, so I'm fine with that. And yeah, it's nice to have people in your lives, and that's kind of why I do this for a part of my job as well, because I constantly have people to talk to. And then probably another little bit cringy thing, but I'd say the fifth most important thing for myself and for anyone else who feels particularly happy and content is coming to terms with who you are and accepting yourself for who you are. I think, given all of those things I've just explained, I didn't realise the person I was until the last kind of 6 months. Whether it was going to the gym all the time, that's not me and I didn't enjoy it. Working in finance, that isn't me and I didn't enjoy it. Eating really healthy and clean and being so regimented wasn't me and I didn't enjoy it. And I've only recently started making decisions for me that I enjoy, and that in turn has made me the happiest person that I've ever been. And yeah, I hope that other people notice that as well. Like I said, I kind of made this video because a lot of people have commented on me feeling more, or me seeming more relaxed and at ease in myself and online. So I'm really glad that that is coming across, and hopefully you can see that this is completely genuine as well. And the only reason I'm kind of saying it is in hopes that someone somewhere who's maybe gone through similar issues before can watch this and realise that they maybe need to think about their life and who they are and just talk to someone and get some help or advice, because even if it's just a friend or a family member, or if you want to message me and just chat, that's fine, and my DMs are always open, even though until I get on a thread it might take me a few days, but I will reply quickly if you need me to. I feel like I could talk about these things all day, But I'm going to leave the video there. But if you have any questions about getting into interiors or speaking to a counsellor or therapist or anything else that I've mentioned, please do drop me a message and I'd be happy to answer anything. And once again, thank you so much for being here. I say this a million times and I know I'm a broken record, but you guys being here and choosing to watch along and support me makes me really, really happy. I've actually tried to record this outro a few times and got a bit emotional, but I just couldn't be happier to be doing what I'm doing, and I feel in a very lucky and grateful position in life right now. So thanks so much guys, and see you next time.